Well, the strike by nurses and midwives is in the second day and already is beginning to impact on healthcare delivery across the country. A pregnant woman rushed to the hospital in Y in the Upper West Region after a snake bite, denied emergency care and sent away without treatment. At the Pampaso Children's Hospital in Kumasi in the Ashanti region, another expectant mother, 6 months pregnant and nursing severe burns from hot soup, limbs out after being turned away. These are just two of many disturbing stories emerging from across the country. A strike by the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association enters day 2. Patients battling pain and uncertainty are forced to travel long distance only to be rejected at the hospital sites. Let me take you around the country now. Let's start from the Upper West region, where my colleague Rafik Salam has been painting a grim picture about the impact it is having on healthcare delivery.
This morning, I went to the Upper West Region Hospital. Just at the gate of the hospital, I bumped into a highly pregnant woman, 22 years of age, 9 months old pregnancy, where she told us that she suspected that she may have been bitten by a snake when she went to attend nature's call at her community at Akomfre, which is about 6 kilometers away from the hospital. And so the husband picked her on a motorbike and they came straight to the Upper West Region Hospital, where they first went to the OPD department of the hospital, and then also from they didn't get the needed help that they wanted, the care that they wanted. From there they moved to the emergency and also to the antenatal. We were also told that the woman was supposed to go for scanning today at the hospital, and this unfortunate incident happened. And so these department that she went to at the hospital, she was not given the needed care. And so she and the husband decided to go home. So I asked the husband what happened next. And the husband told me that maybe probably he doesn't wish that, but maybe the woman was destined to die because they have no other alternative to go than to. The only alternative that they have is to take the lady to the herbalist for them to see whether they could be able to get some kind of care from them.
Well, in the Ashanti region, our correspondent Clinton Yabua reports that another injured, heavily pregnant woman was turned away due to the ongoing strike.
The Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association industrial action continues unabated. Some patients of the Maternal and Child Health Hospital in Kumasi, including pregnant women, are leaving the hospital premises without receiving care.
And then my first time, but I'm almost on strike.
This is my first time, but I couldn't access help. I have been turned away. This could be detrimental.
Because obi nim de okofe ka akoto
obi ho awoyare ne ho mfa na adurasa waba hospital.
Some of the patients here are with critical conditions, especially the pregnant women. Some are in their last stages. Martha Iadom, a leader of the Nursing Association at the Akomfre Teaching Hospital, says sick pockets cannot take care of sick patients, resisting calls to attend to distressed patients.
We feel so bad, so sad. First to the government, because we don't want to feel sad about what the government is telling us. So the government should listen to us so we can smile and receive all cases across the country. Thank you very much. We are not happy they've been turned away, but we are doing that for the government to feel what we are equally going through. Now a lot of nurses are sick themselves. How can the sick take care of the sick? So government, please, we are emotionally, financially sick. So listen to us so that we get the strength to care for the sick. The patients are rather crying to the government to listen to us because they know we are not asking for much. So the government should listen to us so that they can have the full service from the nurses and midwives in Kat and in Ashanti region and Ghana at large. Until we hear from our superiors, of which we are praying. We know the government. We know he loves us and we love him back. So we are praying by the close of today the course implementation will be signed. And we are full working because we hear the good news to fill our pockets full. So we get the energy to work. So honorable government, we know you hear us. By the close of the day, we want the courts document implementation to be signed. And we are good to go. We are not waiting till next week, my dear. The government will sign.
Meanwhile, the Assistant Secretary of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Ebenezer Aqua, says the stagnant service conditions are driving high attrition rates among nurses and healthcare practitioners. He stated that the implementation of the agreed conditions of service is a test case of the government's commitment to the welfare of health workers.
And the minister knows without fuel, a car cannot run. And without a proper condition of service, nurses, there's this news that, or there's this communication that has been coming. Our colleagues who have even gone outside, they are even saying that if the conditions of service in Ghana is even lucrative, there would have been no need for them to travel outside. So if government will implement this condition of service and at least make it lucrative for us, the attrition rate would even go down. So it's better for government to implement the condition of service for nurses and midwives across the length and breadth of the country.
For Joy News, my name is Clinton Yeboah.
Well, the National Labour Commission has declared the strike illegal, and they came through with the statement that we have for you now. They said that they received a notice of industrial action from the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association on the 29th of May, 2025, and as a matter of urgency and as essential service providers, in accordance with Section 162 of the Labour Act 2023 and Regulation 20 of LI 1833, the Labour Regulation 2017, 2007, the Commission in the letter dated 30th May 2025, and in line with the powers of the Commission under Section 138, they summoned the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association to appear before it on Wednesday, June 4, 2025, and the further directed that all planned actions commencing with the wearing of red bands to withdrawal of services must be halted to allow the Commission to intervene in the process. And they said that while the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, represented by its Chief Executive, Ministry of Health and Allied Institutions and the Ministry of Finance, were present before the Commission Wednesday, the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association failed to appear before the Commission and has carried out its intended industrial action. The Commission knows that the nurses failed to comply with Section 159 of the Labour Act regarding notice leading to such industrial action. The Commission declares the industrial action or the strike by the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association as illegal and directs them to call off with immediate effect. And they say that members of the striking nurses must resume work at their respective facilities immediately, and that the leadership of the association will continue to engage with Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to implement the collective agreement and report the outcome to the Commission by the 25th of June 2025 at 2:30 p.m. Right, so we'll get back to this story. We'll get answers from the Health Ministry and, of course, the National Labour Commission on, beyond the statement, what else are they doing to get the striking nurses and midwives back to work. But let's talk about another matter that is equally important, and that's the destruction to our forests and our water bodies by illegal mining. And officials of the Takwa Forest District Office are living in fear after scores of illegal miners attacked their office following a crackdown on illegal miners who besieged the Neum South Forest Reserve on Monday. The mob of illegal miners have since Monday been frequenting the office in a series of protests and threats, preventing the forest office from operating peacefully. And my colleague, Russell Saridonko, who has been following this story, joins me in the studio. So, Russell, can walk us through what really is happening in the Western region? So, the Neum South Forest Reserve, has been attacked for some time. And recently, the Forestry Commission has done a great job together with the security agencies. They've been able to flush illegal miners out, and they want to keep it that way.
And so they have eyes monitoring what is happening in there. Now, according to my information on the ground, some group of people came to the manager, asked that they have some tailings. When I say tailings, the byproduct of mining, sitting in the forest, so they want to cut it. But you know, Elton, even if there has been mining in the forest and you want to reclaim, it goes through a long process before you are allowed. So they were denied.
Right.
Then only to find out that they've entered the forest illegally a day after with excavators. So the Forestry Commission Rapid Response Team moved in there and set one excavator ablaze. And this is what has angered the illegal miners. They moved to the office, attacked the office, locked the doors, and prevented the people from entering the office to discharge their duties.
The Forestry Commission staff?
Yes. So they locked the forest office on Monday, preventing them from entering to do their legitimate business. And since then, on Tuesday, they came there. On Wednesday, they've been there to the extent that they've slashed the tires of the district manager's vehicle, preventing him from moving the vehicle from the site.
Well, are they that helpless in protecting themselves?
Well, so they have filed a formal complaint with the CID, but from what I gather, these people are members of the NDC within the area. And so the DCE, even in his presence, it was in his presence that they slashed the ties of the district manager. It tells you of a certain kind of high-handedness when it comes to the people they are dealing with. But currently, they've been able to bring the place to calm, and the police is assisting them to discharge their duties.
Okay, so and then the IGP is also taking another interest in the fight against illegal mining.
Yes. So far, the IGP, I will say, I will commend the IGP for what the stance is taking. We've not seen it for a very long time, the police taking active interest and raiding forest reserves. The latest is operation he conducted, he ordered at Bui Subinso.
Right.
Bui Subinso. And they've been able to, so far, arrest quite a number of people, some Chinese, about
14.
Yeah, 14 of them.
And 10 Ghanaians.
10 Ghanaians. They've seized 2 excavators. They've retrieved 2 excavators. As I speak, they are on their way to retrieve 9 other excavators. It was a big site, and the people have complained for a very long time, and the IGP decided to send his men over there. So it's a 7-day operation, I'm learning. They're going to be there for 7 days to raid other areas that have been affected.
But tell me, you've been following this. I mean, we are in a new administration. Do you think the fight is yielding the results that we need?
Well, when you say yielding the results we need, we are not even close. But what has started and is continuing so far needs to be commended, because we do not want the IGP to lose steam and move out. But we rather want other security agencies to join. All these activities should go in line with other initiatives as well. Alternative livelihood empowerment programs. We should also be, by this time, talking about reclamation. So all the areas that we've been able to flush them out, can we go in and start reclamating? But that is a controversial issue, because the moment you give somebody an opportunity to reclaim, then they go there and they start mining.
Right.
So that is where we, the media, and other CSOs need to come in and monitor that process closely. But
then today, for example, and we'll get to that video shortly, President Mahama mentioned, for example, that they have so far seized over 300 excavators. And government has announced plans that in case you want to import the excavator, you need permits. Yesterday, I hosted the former Lands and Natural Resources Minister, Abu Jinapo, here, and he says that that directive was passed during the Akufo-Addo administration. It's nothing new. And then also, DVLA says that when the excavator is also in town, you have to register it, just like register any vehicle, so that they can trace the owners of these machines. From your own monitoring, you think that these 2 measures will help?
It's long overdue. Elton, why can't we just implement such a simple initiative? You know, just like vehicles. If you are bringing in excavators, it must have a purpose. Excavators are not like vehicles where you're going to drive them around.
No.
It's for a purpose. So why can't we regulate and say, if you want to import, state the reason for which you are importing excavators, for example. If they come in, of course, like every equipment, it must be registered. When it is registered, why can't we have a whole tracking, modern tracking system by the Minerals Commission, sitting there idling about, not being operationalized for a very long time? Why can't we operationalize that? Pass every excavator through that unit, track them, so that we can see in real time on screens in Accra, which will be linked to all the security agencies. So that if you are moving to an area to do illegal mining, it will be seen in Accra and you will be stopped. It's simple. So I think the president has announced that we are waiting to see the implementation, but he must also announce and give a deadline that all excavators within the system that have not been tracked should be brought for tracking. Then we will know that after that deadline, if your excavator is not tracked and we see it on the field, then it can be seized. All right, there are a few things I'll cross with you, because one of my colleagues, Blizzard, is in Akomfre Forest Reserve, and something happened there pretty bad. Deputy Director of Arocha Ghana, Dariboso, has also been raising concerns over the development. And then I'll also bring in Dr. Kanashigi. But first, let's listen to Dariboso's concern on this particular matter.
Very disturbed by the news that is coming up now, and even the impunity with which illegal actors are now thinking that they can attack people who are going about their duty, official duty. It's very, very unfortunate. And I think that when it comes to Galamsey and the fight against it, the government can do more, they can do better. There is no reason why this impunity should still continue. I think we've really treated this with kids' gloves, and I don't understand it. It shouldn't happen that even 6 months down the line, the government, we have still issues like this coming up day in and day out. And we finished with, what do you call it, Aberwan crime. Now we're getting to know about the filling station in the forest reserve. It is very, very serious. And I don't know why the government is still being very careful with it. I mean, we need to go at them with all the force that we can muster, and there's no reason why we should do that. And that's why I tend to agree with the CEO for EPA saying that it is giving helicopters and some guys to the rivers and all of that. I think we are joking with it.
Meanwhile, government is from today implementing what it calls the no permits, no excavator policy. Here's a statement that was signed by the Transport Minister. President Mahama spoke to it this morning at the Environmental Day celebration that he launched. But we can bring in Dr. Kanashigi, who has keen interest in this particular sector and the issues around it. Dr. Shigwe, always a pleasure to have you here on the Pulse. Good afternoon.
Very much, and good afternoon for having me.
So we've heard a lot today. President Mahama making a point that beginning today, you will need permits from government to import excavator into the country. Abu Yinapo told me yesterday that that particular directive was, initiated when he was the sector minister. But I'm thinking that we are all looking for solutions. First, let me pick your thoughts.
Isn't that a mark of failure? That if he that was instituted when he was minister, and after he was minister, several excavators came in and he did not implement that. And so the problem we have is in Ghana, it's not about the laws not being in place. It's not about the regulations not being in place. It is about the fact that we don't implement what we have to implement. So I'm happy, the president is talking about it. And again, as my brother Erastus said, what we should be looking at is immediately how is implementation being done, and the whole issue. And so I've already seen that the Minerals Commission is collaborating with the DVLA so that they make sure that they integrate that. So once you now need to get the permits, the chassis numbers then can be entered into the Minerals Commission's tracking system before you even come. And so that I will be expecting that by the time the excavators come into Ghana, you will need clearance from the Minerals Commission before you will then be able to clear it. and so that by that time the trackers will be put on it, and then it will be taken into the field. And so what we need to do at this stage is implementation. And for me, the president talked about some 300 excavators that have been seized.
So far.
We should be publishing the names of all those who imported those excavators in. Who did they rent them out to, or who did they sell them out to? We need to start naming and shaming these people. And I completely agree with Erastus. I know that the Minerals Commission CEO, they've imported about 4,000 new trackers that are going to come. So, very soon we're going to be seeing this tracking being done. We have over 7,000 trackers, excavators in the system. So let's make sure that we can get, trackers that will be able to track them. All the large-scale miners, all the excavators are tracked. And they are fee fixing that the large-scale miners pay for that. We should ensure that the small-scale miners and every excavator, whether you're going to use it for a road, we need to ensure that we really are tracking them. But this painful thing about a fuel station that is in, it's in that community.
Right.
How many tankers have gone to supply fuel to that particular place? What is the MPA also? How did the MPA allow that to happen? How did the EPA would definitely have had to do inspections? So who owns all of this? So we need to get to the bottom of it and make sure that everybody who is involved in that, including the people who own that particular filling station, we name them, we make sure that they go through prosecution and they are punished. Unfortunately, these things happen, we talk about them, but we don't get to the bottom of them. The same way that Akomfre mining is having its day in court. All those who are contributing to the ecocide and the genocide, they should know that we are going to be coming after them, and they would have their day in court, and they would be prosecuted. So we are asking His Excellency to go beyond what he's begun doing and make sure that is being done. But I think that we also need to commend the current IGP. We need to commend the current minister for lands, that some good works are being done. All that is left is the other things that we are talking about that needs to also be done. Yesterday, at the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences, there are several solutions that have come. All of us need to let our voices be heard, support the government when they are doing the right things, point out to them the things that they need to do to complement what they are doing so that we can succeed. Issues like allowing foreigners, including Chinese people who are arrested, to be deported, all of those things should stop. The issue of LI 2462, it is great that the government is trying to amend Act 703, but we need to make sure that we repeal LI 2462 rather than amending it, and then let the guidelines that was in existence before work, so that by the time we are done with the amendment of 703, we would be able to properly manage it. Bear in mind, there were some large-scale miners who were in the forest reserve mining. They did not cause the devastations that we are beginning to see.
Right.
The numbers that the president was talking about, we didn't see that. It is when we decided to do this, and then we got people getting in there, including Heritage, Imperial, and all of that, who were given prospecting licenses and went with 36 excavators into those communities to be able to go and destroy the forest.
The CEO of the Environmental Protection Agency has also joined this conversation. Let me bring her in, Professor Kluche. Prof, good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Great. So, I mean, there's a lot of angles to this story in terms of agencies and ministries fighting this very menace of illegal mining. The Minerals Development Fund, led by Dr. Hanabisiu, they're doing their own thing. The EPA is also undertaking a similar exercise just to ensure that we're able to deal with this particular matter once and for all. And this is, for example, I read somewhere that you say that if you are provided with helicopter and a few other things, you'll be able to deal with this thing once and for all. But from your own angle, how is it going as far as your own contribution is concerned?
Yeah, thank you. So, as we have heard from the various speakers, there are a lot of efforts going on at the moment in this fight. So the EPA is also doing its own monitoring and making sure that this problem or challenge that we find ourselves in, we are able to get it out as much as possible. As I've said in the various media houses, we have some limitation, but I'm happy that other institutions are helping and we are together on this fight. What I said on TV the last time, UTV, and you heard and was referenced as this time, is when I get that helicopters and a few guns, I'll repeat here, I will stop all those who are illegally mining in our water bodies, all those who are destroying our water bodies. So I was very specific with our water bodies because I see that as an emergency. I see that as an agency to deal with. Yes, we have to fight the forest illegal activities. We have to fight the land illegal activities. As the earlier speaker said, some of the excavators used in the mining are tracked. Not all excavators in the country are tracked. In fact, it was in the EPA's plan to track all the heavy and earth-moving machines until recently. So we were putting our documents together until recently I had the announcement of the gold board in tracking excavators. It's not only about mining, but all excavators need to be tracked, and then we have to monitor the activities of such excavators. Because the intention could be for maybe road construction, but eventually will end up in a mining site. The small-scale mining by law is not for for excavators to be used. Small-scale mining is only for cutlasses and hoes and pickers, not excavators. So we've gone beyond using the cutlasses and hoes and now using excavators for small-scale mining. If it's medium-scale and light-scale, yes, excavators are used, and even bigger or higher technologies are used. But small-scale and even the illegal activities that is going on is really destroying our environment, and that is where we come in as EPA on our compliance. And I'm happy that all the different agencies are putting their hands on board in helping this fight.
All right. If you can kindly hold on for me, because Dr. Kanashigbe is also due to enter into another meeting. Let me bring him in so that I can wrap it up with him on this matter. So, Doc, so you've heard the EPA. They say that they require certain, equipments and resources to enable them address the danger that illegal mining will cause them water and river bodies across the country. But this morning, when the CEO of the Mineral Development Fund led a team of some individuals and journalists to a forest reserve in the Ashanti region, they came across this filling station in the middle of the forest. Some Chinese nationals were arrested in the process of them denying responsibility for the devastation they've caused the environment. She wasn't happy that they'll be deported, but I said even if they should be deported, they should be made to reclaim the land before that deportation is done. I don't know what your thoughts are on her demand. Hello, Doc. We don't seem to have Dr. Kanashigbe on the line, so... Right. Hello, Dr. Shigbe. I don't know where
I missed what you said.
So I was saying that, I mean, in this fight and in this morning, what happened this morning, the Minerals Development Fund, led by the CEO, are also undertaking some inspection of assault in the Ashanti region. They came across these miners destroying the environment. Some Chinese nationals were arrested in the process. Dr. Hanabisu is of the view that even though they will be deported, she makes the demand that they should be made to reclaim the land before that deportation is enforced.
But you see, the point is I don't even understand why we are talking about, there's a law, Act 995, that talks about what you do when foreigners are against the Minerals and Mining Act. So, yes, we should make sure that we arrest them, confiscate all the assets they're using for the illegal mining, make sure that we find them the maximum fine under Act 995, make sure we jail them the maximum time. The time that they are serving their sentence, they should be using that time in doing the reclamation and the restoration. When they are finished with reclaiming and restoring, then we can be thinking about deporting them. Why are we have a law? Why is it that we are, entitled to enforce the law? We are being lawless about it. So Parliament, revokes that section of Act 995. It doesn't say that when people, engage in these illegalities, they should be deported.
So I agree with her to some extent that these people, we should make sure that all their assets are seized. We should make sure that they have the maximum fine that is prescribed by Act 995, and also make sure they serve their sentence. After they've served their sentence, then they will make sure that they do reclamation work, physical reclamation. They come onto the site and do the reclamation work. After they've done that, then we can then think about deporting them.
All right, Dr. Siwe, thank you so much for joining this conversation. Erastus, you have some concerns to share because we are running out of time. Okay.
Yeah, I think that we are doing so far so good in certain sectors.
Right.
At least enforcement is, enjoying some, time. But there's more to do, and we must understand that there's more to do. We have not tackled mining in settlements. We have not tackled mining on water bodies, which is very critical at this time. And so there should be a clear plan involving other initiatives that is supposed to sustain this so that we get to the promised land where we are supposed to go.
All right. Because you have to run away, I'll leave you. Erastus Haridonko is a journalist with the Multimedia Group, and he's so much into the issue of illegal mining. Now, we are spending so much time today on illegal mining and the effects it's having on our environment and water bodies. Now, Joy News has uncovered a fuel station set up in the heart of a forest reserve located at the Akomfre community in the Ashanti region. This brazen act, officials say, will power earth-moving equipment which are being used to carry out reckless destruction of forest cover in search of gold. Blazer Soga reports from the community where a raid spearheaded by the Minerals Development Fund resulted in the arrest of some Chinese on suspicion of leading the syndicate.
So, as you can see right behind me, residents of Akomfre in the Ashanti region are shocked at the revelations of this morning's raid led by the Minerals Development Fund. The Minerals Development Fund, together with security agencies, in the early hours of today, apprehended some foreign nationals who are believed to be part of the syndicate leading illegal mining operations within the forest reserve found within this community.
The community is fed up. And in fact, the communities are fed up. They are fed up that they destroy the land, they destroy the water bodies, and at the end of the day, they're going to blame government. Because they want water, government has to provide. They want this, government has to provide. For these Chinese who said they don't even feel sorry for what they've done, they've destroyed our water bodies, they've done so much. We will also push to make sure that the law takes its course. But if they are going to be deported, it should not be before they pay for the restoration of thing.
In fact, let's hear from the horse's own mouth. Hello, how are you?
How are you?
I'm fine. Are you responsible for what we see here? You? Were you the one who did this?
No.
You're not the ones?
No.
Are you sure?
No.
So what are you doing here?
No.
You're not the one who did this?
They say they don't understand English.
Pollution? No? Mining?
Luther.
So what's your name?
Luther.
Okay, but you are not the one who did this?
No.
You didn't do this?
Yeah, no.
So what are you doing here?
No.
How did you come here?
No English. No
You
English.
don't speak English?
Yeah, no English.
Yeah.
No English.
You didn't come here?
No English.
But were you the one who did this?
No, city. No.
You're not the one who did this?
No, city.
You're not the one who did this?
No.
So who did this?
No, city.
You don't know?
No.
Okay. Obviously, these foreign nationals do not speak the language. Let's see if we can. Yeah, were you the one who did this?
No, city.
Are you sure you're not the one?
No.
But you can see.
No.
Where's the machine?
Machine, no city.
So who did this?
No city.
Who did it?
Me.
You?
Me house yesterday come.
Oh, you came yesterday?
Yesterday come.
From where? Which country?
No city.
Which country did you come from? China?
China.
Oh. So who brought you here? How did you come here?
No English.
We're within the Jamura Forest Reserve of the Ashanti region. And as the name will have it, it is a forest reserve. And of all the things you'd expect to see in a forest reserve, obviously, will be animals and vegetation cover. But Joy News is now uncovering, guess what? A fuel station located in the heart of a forest reserve. And guess what it is doing? It is fueling all of these machinery and earth-moving equipment that you see in your shots here ostensibly belonging to illegal miners who are digging deep into the heart of this forest reserve and destroying all that's left of it. And that's why we're here joining this task force by the Minerals Development Fund, led by its chairperson or executive, Hannah Louisa Bisu-Kote, who's very unhappy about the activities of these illegal miners and saying that this should be the point where it all ends. We've been interacting with some persons as well who are part of this task force, finding out what the scope of this operation is and what the implications will be going forward. There's Ogan reporting for Joy News, Jamara Forest Reserve, Ashanti Region.
Uncovered this morning when Blazer joined the administrator of the Minerals Development Fund, Dr. Hannah Louisa Bisu, on this, if I should call it, fact-finding mission. And privileged to say that she joins us via Zoom. Also, still on the line with me is Professor Kluche of the EPA. But let me bring in Dr. Bisu. You must be shocked at what you uncovered today. Right, Doctor, if you can kindly unmute for me.
Okay, thank you very much.
So I ask, I mean, you must really be shocked at what you uncovered today.
I think if I say I was shocked, it will be an understatement. There are two things that we saw: the destruction of the forests in the community and the destruction of Akomfre River. Akomfre is completely gone. They've cut off one community from the other, so the children in the other at the other side of Akomfre cannot come to school. So they've been out of school for weeks, if not months. We were there in one of the sister communities last week, and they complained bitterly. So we had to, use some sort of strategy to get into the community today, because anytime you try the normal way, they escape. And we saw a major destruction of Akomfre. Akomfre has completely been diverted. It's turned to red, and huge pits. A small community has about 40 excavators, and there's a filling station that takes care of these excavators in the middle of the forest. And we have these Chinese, they had actually gone to the mine and they had come back. We waited for them to come, and then we apprehended them and we went back to their site. Some of the excavators, as we got there to the site, they took them away. But what is happening is disastrous. I think one of your guests talking about the Mineral and Mining Act, Amended Act 2019. This Section 3 talks about foreigners when they are caught doing mining, what should be done to them. So as we speak, we have pushed for court. We went to court, and so we did not sleep on it, went to court. But before we got here, even in the village, so we had these thugs coming and besieging the place, besieging us, basically hostage, gunshots everywhere. They will not allow us to go with the Chinese.
Today?
Yes, today, this morning. Yes, this morning. It was a hostage style of thing, and machetes hitting the vehicles, or not let us go, shooting, and the villagers, everybody was running. And what I said was that, come hot me, these Chinese will go with us. You can shoot. The only thing, my concern was, we had journalists with us. I mean, for the journalists, yes, but for the rest of us, you become part of the security task force.
Right.
We managed to push through, finally, through a lot of struggle and hustle. Then we got to Inehim police station. Then the police asked them to block us again, these same facts. to divert us and direct us to release the Chinese to them. That place, I really got upset because with everything we went through in the village, it was between life and death issue, where you've been held basically hostage under gunshots because you've arrested these Chinese who have committed such crime against humanity, crime against our water bodies, crime against our forests, crime against our nation. Then we manage to pull through. We get here, then you bring them to block us again with waving guns and stuff. So I came out and I said, look, enough of this. So I told the police commander that we are not living even a pin with you because it happened in your jurisdiction and it's just around the corner. Last time we were here, they escaped. Today we've come for them.
Right.
So we went to the police at the Central Police Station and we went to court. So they've been reminded. And we're going to push for the enforcement of the law, the Act, the Mineral Mining Amendment Act in 2019, the Section 3. It talks about the penalties points that they should be either of the penalty points or imprisonment 20, not less than 20 years and not more than 25 years.
Right.
Or you can do both.
Exactly.
We are going to push this time for both, you see, because these communities, if you see the state in which these communities are, you can't even describe it. You can't describe the state, but we have to develop these communities. There's no way you succeed in treating a patient if what you do is just to treat symptoms. Headache, you treat headache, you treat this. But the main cause is what we're tackling now. And we're going to push for them to pay for the restoration of
the land.
River Fin. No, they have to restore the river. We have to dredge and bring the river back to its normal course, and then now reclaim, a run of it.
Right.
Some of the land is off forest, so the off forest, when they reclaim, we plant coconuts so that the coconuts will now be beneficial to the community. And we will also push for them to, reclaim that where they have all these excavators. 23 were parked there, the others were on site. So for us, I think this is going to test the law.
Of course.
His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has, reiterated so many times his commitment to ending this chaos. The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources has also screamed it out very loud, and we are following suit. So,
Doctor, if I can just come in briefly. So obviously, we wouldn't be having this conversation if you had not gone there with military or security personnel to provide security because of what you encountered and the stand of that ensued between you and the, I don't know what else to call them, bandits that came to prevent you from taking these Chinese away.
No, we wouldn't. And the truth of the matter is, this time around, we didn't even go in any land cruise or stuff. We went in trotro.
So,
because because anything you do, there's a tip off from somewhere. And what is happening is you sit in office, and that's what I'm saying. You sit in office and you make decisions, and you don't really know the true nature of what you are deciding on. What is happening on the ground? You may be making a mistake. Now, with everything that we've seen, what we've gone through, when you sit behind a table to make a decision for these communities, you'll be very prudent. And you know exactly why you are doing this, why you're doing that.
You think perhaps the police in that particular enclave may be aware of what is going on?
I'll not say all of them, but some yes. Some yes, because you see, what happened today when these stars came, it was like a horror movie. One of my drivers could not move. He was dead shaken. He couldn't move the car. It was a horror movie. My concern was for the journalists who were with us,
right,
and the residents of the village. Now we moved and we got to the police station after the standoff and everything, and we were able to pull through. And we got to the police station. Then the police asked them to block us on the main road to direct us to the police station. In fact, when I got out of my car, I asked them to move straight to Central Police Station.
But block you for what reason? Block you for what reason?
That was, I mean, that we should release the Chinese to them.
Instead of arresting them for violating the laws regarding mining passed by Parliament, and you as...
And it's not just violating the law, you know, committing crime. If you see River Fin, if you see the forest, it's... I don't have words. You have to be there to see what we saw, okay? And the danger that it poses to the residents of this place. Some of the pitch, you know, when somebody falls in the pit, then my leg, one leg got stuck in this mud. You see, when it gets there, it's sucking you down. That's what happens. So if anybody falls in any of that pit, trust me, we will not hear of that person. You will not know. Only God knows how many bodies we will find should we go down there and dredge. So for the police to ask us to release them to them at that local level, I was wondering, but definitely there was no way I was going to bow to that. There was no way I was going to bow to that. There was no way I was going to accept it. We were not going to accept it. No. So I made them drive off with them. And then I came up and I asked, what is the problem? So the commander came and I told the commander, look, I don't want to talk to you. I don't have anything to say to you. If you have something to tell me, I'm ready to listen. But I have nothing to communicate to you. What I need right now is get your thugs off the road because we are moving and we are not giving you anybody. We are taking the Chinese to the regional headquarters and we will push for the law to take its course. You've been here all this while. We came from Accra. Since yesterday, we've not slept.
Right.
Some of my staff didn't go to work.
The conduct of the police is something that you may...
Please, I'm listening.
Yeah, the conduct of the police is something that you may report to the Interior Minister because he's made it clear. Any police officer under whose jurisdiction there is illegal mining, you will be transferred.
Please, I've done so already.
Okay.
I've done so already. I've actually made the formal report to the region, and I've informally debriefed the Interior Minister because by the grace of God, he had a program here. So I went with my uproar like that, and I went to make the informal, report to him because I know that the regional commander will make the formal report because in my presence, they made a call to the commander and he was directed to make sure that none of the excavators leave that place. So I think they've already started taking steps. So I've made the formal report. I just want to say thank you to Jesus because what happened this morning was a horror movie. And so for any of the team members to be out safe, and Joy FM, we thank you for your presence. We thank TV3 and all the others who came along with us because it's a very high risk job. But you see, if we are afraid to tackle it, then we will never succeed.
And I was coming to I'm coming to the question whether this has shaken you or this has rather emboldened you to do even more.
Not at all. Zero. Not at all. My major concern were the residents and the others who were with us. Zero.
Okay.
Zero. I'm not that type. I don't know yet. I don't get, because you see, I've been trained to know that, you see, you live for a cause and you die for a cause. And so if we have to work, we work. We are provided security, so we got to work. I mean, the security is not for me to sit in office and be only signing documents and do it. No, I have to go to the ground and see. We were going to continue with our community engagement, and wherever the community complains of trouble, we will get in there. We pick arms, pistols that have been loaded, we don't even know whether they are registered as well. They're with the police and all that. So I'm sure, the law finally will work.
The other matter is the fuel station that you came across in the middle of the forest. And we know that you cannot set up a fuel station without authorization from the MPA, for example. this is not the one when we used to call the GAO, but this is clearly a sophisticated one. I don't know whether you were encouraged to know whether they were able to show you documentation that granted them the permit to set up that fuel station there.
Yeah, now we've taken them to court, and court has reminded them. And so we are now trying to head off to Accra.
Okay.
And so we have our coordinator, the regional coordinator will follow up all these measures. And when it gets to the time that they have to build them or something, MDF will come back in again. MDF is the voice of the communities. We are supposed to redress every negative effect that mining us on these communities. And there are communities screaming for help, screaming for help.
Right.
In fact, today they were very, very, very happy with what happened, you know,
and
except for the gunshots.
The excavators that you came across, about 24, is it your recommendation that perhaps the police should take it up and then seize all of them?
There are more than 24.
Okay.
24 was at one side, but on site. So when you count all, you'll be having about 40 excavators.
In one location?
So, yeah, one location was a 24. That's where, that close to the filling station.
Okay.
But in the middle of the forest. But by offing, where they've diverted offing, that counting, you know, those that we found out that you should be getting about 40 excavators. So we've asked the police to take care of it. We want it seized, and we want these excavators auctioned. We want the monies to be channeled through, you know, the reclamation of the land and the restoration of Offin River. Allow the river to follow its natural course. We've spoken to the regional minister as well, and I think you'll be preparing for some machines to go carry them and bring them here. Last week we went to one bush where we found a brand new excavator. When I say brand new, shining metals, everything, you know, the rubber around it, brand new, in the middle of the bush. So people are not ready to stop. And so we have to take the fight to them. And I'm sure that as we go, they will know that now we will live with them in the communities. We're not going to do the normal way they will know and tip off. We will live with them. And when the time is right, we arrest them.
All right. Dr. Bisu, thank you so much. I mean, this is the first time the leadership of the Minerals Development Fund is actually on the ground. They are not just sitting in the office, but they're on the ground ensuring that sanity prevails as far as the mandate is concerned.
Thank you very much, and thanks for your support. We continue to update you as we progress.
Right. Dr. Hannah Louisa Bisu, of course, is the administrator of the Minerals Development Fund, and she was just recounting what she and her team went through today in trying to deal with the matter of illegal mining in Akomfre Forest Reserve in the Ashanti region. Remember that President Mahama is also talking tough on this particular matter, the Environmental Day celebration today. He says that they've seized 300 excavators. Now, there is a permit regime. If you want to import an excavator, you need authorization. And when this is already in Ghana, you need to go through registration at the DVLA before that excavator can be allowed to work. Professor Kluche with the EPA is still with me. Prof, I mean, you've heard Dr. Bisu recount her story. Quite scary. I don't know if you want to share some thoughts on this before I ask you a few issues on the environment.
Thank you. I want to commend Dr. Hannah Bisu for the bold steps she took. I tell you that out there it's dangerous. Out there it's scary. I had my own experience when I go out. I'm not able to say all of them on the set, but I've been going around a lot. As she said, we need to really apply the law. And for me, it doesn't matter who is causing it, foreigner or local or anyone. Nobody is above the law in the country. We need to implement the law and making sure that we have a clean and serene environment for our living. I heard her say that because Offin River, Offin is polluted, some schools children are not able to cross to the other side of the town. You see, this illegal mining activities we are talking about is not only affecting the land and the water, it's also affecting the schools of the children. And I mean, I've said this severally, we have to go radical in dealing with this situation. We seem to be managing the problem. We seem to be massaging the challenge, but we can be more radical to it than what we are doing now. But I have my position. I have pronounced this several times on air. Once we have what it takes, resources to do it, we will do it as EPA. If no agency want to do it, we EPA will do it.
But in the time that you've been in office and been out and about checking on the state of some of our water and river bodies, how would you describe their state today as we speak?
I would say that there's been efforts, but we've not done that radical move. We seem to be doing the same thing over and over again. But we have to go the radical tangent. Yes, taking office, I needed to understand the situation myself, not only about hearsay. So I've been to the ground several times. Virtually every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'm out there on compliance and monitoring of environmental issues, which includes visiting these illegal mining areas. So understanding the issue is one thing I needed to know, and then sitting to plan the solution is another way. Yes, I started by talking about involving the communities, involving even large-scale miners. I have met small-scale mining associations to help us with this fight. I've met large-scale legal miners to help us with this fight. But I see that all of this dialogue we are having is not the way to go. It's not working. So we need to go radical.
This fuel station that we came across in the middle of the forest, surprised that it is working and providing services to the illegal miners. Yes. I mean, some would assume that without documentation, it would be simply impossible to have this operating.
No, I'm not sure they have any permits to provide those services, and even to site a filling station or site in a forest area. It's not allowed. It's completely illegal. I'm not sure if we can check their papers. I'm not sure they have permits from EPA to site a filling station there. I'm not sure they have permits from Petroleum Commission. Everything they do there should be illegal. I'm not sure NPA will give a permit for a filling station to be sited in a forest area, and I'm not sure they have EPA permit as well. For EPA, before we give the permit, we go to inspect the area where you want to operate, assess the environmental impact, project it before we allow the permit. So I'm not sure they do have EPA permit. Everything they are doing there is illegal.
All right. And then if you can finally hold it for me just for some few minutes, because President Mahama has also announced government's intention to ban the use of wood for the production of school furniture. Speaking at the World Environment Day celebration held at Kwabinya, the president said that in the near future also, school furnitures will no longer be made from wood. Instead, there will be a transition to the use of recycled plastic or metal as more environmentally friendly alternative.
Plastics, when not managed properly, become a long-term hazard. And that is why today I'm proud to launch the One Tree Per Child initiative. This is a nationwide program that will engage every school-age Ghanaian child in planting and nurturing at least one tree. Each child will be given a seedling, and the seedlings will be chosen to suit the local ecology of where their schools are. And guided by their teachers, local environmental officers, forestry officers, and traditional leaders, they will be shown how to care and nurture the tree to grow. By 2030, this program will result in tens of millions of trees planted. These are trees that will stabilize our soils, trees that will cool our cities, and trees that will absorb carbon dioxide and restore our degraded ecosystems. More importantly, each tree will serve as a lesson in responsibility, sustainability, and civic pride. This new initiative builds on the foundation of the Tree for Life afforestation program, which I launched in March this year in Akomfre in the Ashanti region. That program targets the restoration of at least 7 million hectares of degraded land and the planting of millions of trees nationwide. As part of our national efforts, I'm pleased to formally announce the commencement of the 2025 National Tree Planting Exercise, which begins today, June 5th, and will continue through till June 30th. Our target is to plant 30 million trees across the country during this period.
Well, the president also announced that government plans to ban the use of styrofoam as food packaging material. That's takeaway, if you know. He explained that the government is working to encourage more sustainable options.
One of the other things we intend to do is to ban styrofoam as a food packaging material. One of the most pernicious polluters is styrofoam plastic. When you go to buy your food and they put it in that white plastic something, you know, and then you finish eating, you just dump it. That is one of the biggest polluters. And so we're going to ban the importation of styrofoam plastics. We have to use paper packaging or aluminum foil for packaging our food. And so I'm informing the manufacturers and importers of styrofoam with the Ministry of Environment. Soon we're going to ban the importation of styrofoam and production of styrofoam in Ghana. Our food packaging will be made from paper and also from aluminum material. Fellow Ghanaians, the journey from landfill, fellow Ghanaians, it sounds very familiar, yeah?
Well, so that's President John Mahama there. Let me quickly bring in again Professor Kluche briefly before, so I can let you go. And plastic, as you know, for food packaging, President said that he will ban it and then we'll rather use paper. But we've been on this road for so long, and I wonder whether this is the time that we'll finally have answers to the ban of plastics.
Yeah, thank you. Remember, when I took office at the very beginning, I made a pronouncement on banning plastic. But I also said that we'll do it slowly.
Right.
Because we have made an attempt in the past to ban plastics. It didn't work out because we didn't provide alternatives. So I'm happy with the president's statement that we're going to provide tables and chairs made of recycled plastics and metals instead of wood. So that's one we know that our plastic waste will find some job to do. Then the food packaging, I've also talked about it. We need to, EPA have started meeting the producers of these plastic products, this packaging that's made of plastic, especially the single-use plastic, so they can be thinking and looking for alternatives to plastics. Because very soon we are going to be strict on this compliance we are talking about. Once we are strict, the alternatives must be available. Paper packaging, as the president said, should be promoted as much as possible. I know Ghana Rubber Company Limited are producing paper packaging even now as we speak. So they are already diversifying. So other companies can do same in terms of diversifying into alternative materials other than plastic, especially the single-use plastic. So that is the way to go. We have started work, but we're doing it slowly. At a point, we will implement this more holistically and with a lot more enforcement. But now we are taking it slowly. The president also mentioned the ban of cellophane, or is it that's the food packaging that we use. That is really dangerous for our health. It has so many micro plastics or micro materials that get into our food and get into us when we eat them. So going away or getting it banned is also the way to go. We start at the port, not allowing importation of those products, and then the producers of the country, in the country too, we have to meet with them and ask them to go off the production of such materials as well for food packaging.
And I'm guessing that you are likely to face opposition with the same narrative of, oh, it's going to lead to job losses, livelihoods, and all these things. How would you convince them?
That is why we talk about alternatives and preaching the alternatives so they can find something else to do whilst we are on this ban.
All right. We'll leave you here for now. Prof, thank you so much for spending time with us this afternoon. Professor Kluche is the head of the Environmental Protection Agency. And of course, we have been talking about it. The Pulse, as always, is brought to you by Defendrio. And Defendrio is your one-stop shop for if you have cough and other related issues, you need Defendrio, this and any other to help you deal with the cough and associated matters. Where if this is the Pulse, your comments are welcome. We are live on X Spaces, on YouTube, on Facebook. And soon I'll share with you some of the comments that have come in so far so that we can have, this show is interactive and your comments, as always, welcome here on the program brought to you by Defendrio. Let's take a short break here on the Pulse. When we return, we'll see if we can take you to the hospital and hear from the health minister.